Welcome back, Jurassic fans. It's another amazing day because we have some brand new Hammond collection, the highly anticipated Allosaurus. Now, this is probably my 4th or 5th pre-order that I've missed, and it's because my work schedule doesn't allow me to be up around that time, so when the pre-orders actually go live, I miss them all the time. But I'm going to let you in on a little tip or trick. So the day that these are actually supposed to hit stores, if you check at like midnight or maybe like 1 or 2 a.m., depending on where you live, they will be ready for A, shipping, and B, order pickup. And that's how I'm able to get all of these on the release day, despite missing my pre-order. I've been a little under the weather lately, so I wasn't able to get this video out like on release day, but it's here now. I'm excited to crack this open, so let's see what it has to offer. The Allosaurus from the Hammond collection. I can't tell you how excited I have been about this figure since it was announced and, revealed. It has been on my big want list, and it even has the Battle at Big Rock, like little display on the side of the packaging. Do you remember when that dropped? Everybody was just like flabbergasted, like how epic it was to be in like modern day living, at like a campsite and then just getting it totally destroyed by 2 dinosaurs. Like absolutely insane. So I'm hoping that the new Jurassic World movie plays into that, modern day, living with dinosaurs now and just basically like horrific survival. Like that is like probably my ultimate goal, and for them to kind of detach from the old Jurassic World movies. The back of the packaging gives us some pretty traditional artwork of this figure. We have some upcoming releases right here, which I believe they drop on January 12th, I believe is what it is. I missed some pre-orders for these as well, but that is okay because I'll just do the same thing I've been doing and just hitting order pickup. Before we really dive into this, I want to give you a good close-up of what it looks like in the packaging still. Beautiful presentation. You don't really get the full effect of that glass eye until it's actually out of the packaging and you can kind of heighten it with some extra lighting. And per usual, here is the barcode and the target DPCI to help you track this down. Currently, right now, as I'm filming this, it is in stock at various stores in my location and also for shipping. Here she is in all of her glory. Now, the Allosaurus has seen many different variations throughout Mattel Jurassic. So we have the Colossal series, the main line, and now within the Hammond collection. Now, I gotta say, this is probably the truest representation of the Allosaurus that we have to date. Super accurate looking, even down to that like muted blue color scheme. The Hammond collection has gotta be one of my favorite lines to collect right now. I get super excited when they announce a new figure and a new offering because they just absolutely knock these out of the park, and especially the price point. So this was $34.99, which I believe is the same price as the Carnotaurus, but like look at all the details you're getting, all the articulation. I mean, this is definitely more of a collector's line. This is something that I wish I had as a kid. So if you're a younger generation and you're watching this video, you should feel very lucky right now because you're getting some stuff that I wish I had when I was a teenager, a kid. But hey, we have them now as adults, so that's all that matters. Let's jump right into this, starting with that beautiful head and that realistic eye. One of my favorite aspects about this Hammond collection is the usage of that realistic eye. I mean, it just really brings these dinosaurs to life. And getting the pupil to show on camera is kind of a challenge because you just have to hit the lighting just right. But if you look closely, you can see that little sliver right there. It's like dead center. Now, showing you from the left-hand side, I got this lighting just right. You can see that pupil right there in the center. Look how awesome that is. Man, I love this line so much. They just do such an amazing job, and I can't wait for us to eventually get a Spinosaurus. I mean, could you imagine just that menacing green eye to that thing just staring at you? Holy smokes, I can't wait for that. You may also notice that little scarring effect to the left-hand side of the muzzle. There's also some scratches and stuff to the right-hand side as well. Now, even though I was able to get a good look at that pupil, I wish it was a little bit more prominent and maybe looked closer to the render that's on the packaging itself. So you can see that instead of a like sliver or like a slit down the center, it has more of like an oval type of look to it. And I think that would really make that eye pop out a little bit more and really just bring a lot more attention to the pupil itself and obviously give this thing a lot more like realness. Let's just move right into articulation and this open mouth detail. You can see there's some texture to that tongue right there, has a glossy appeal to it. The tongue has no articulation, but that is okay. The teeth look great. They're there's like a stained, you know, like yellow appeal to them, and they're also like a kind of a rubbery feel, which is pretty traditional with this Hammond collection line. This is about as far as that mouth will open up, and this will also give you a good idea of the coloring to those teeth. Now this mouth is two separate joints, so we have the upper jaw and then we have the lower jaw, and then you can both move them individually if you wanted to, and they're nice and sturdy. They both kind of like click into their designated, you know, positioning. Below the jaw we have our first neck joint, so I'm going to keep this one in like an upright positioning, the second one right here, and I want to just focus on this joint alone, so I can move it up and down, nice and fluid. I believe it is on a ball joint, just based off of like the movement I'm getting right here. So up, down, left, right, and if I kept this joint stable, I can move the head up about that high, and then going about that far down, and then left to right, just like so. So obviously we'll get some more range of motion when we include that joint, so let's do that here. So with this joint, wow, everything combined, I can get this Allosaurus looking all the way down, and then let's see, going upwards a decent amount, nothing too crazy, but hey, that's okay. That's what feet are for. We can have the Allosaurus looking upwards if we really wanted to, but just based on these neck pieces alone, you can get a lot of range of motion. So we do have some more left to right movement here, and that is just super nice. Very stiff joints, very fluid, very clean. Nothing feels like janky at all. I'm super impressed with this. The joints to the rest of this figure are going to be roughly the same within the rest of this line, but we're still going to go over it. We have a hinge and a swivel here at the body. So for the arms, we can bring this arm up about that high. Let's do the other arm as well. Again, nice, sturdy joints. Very impressed by that. So we can bring the arms up about that high, and then let's do, how about spinning it around? Can we spin this joint around? Yeah, we can spin both of these around, no problem. And then we also have an elbow joint. We can extend it out with a little bit of hyperextension, nothing too over the top. And let's see, can we spin this baby? Oh yeah, we can spin this around as well. And then let's see here. Let's keep the shoulder in like a straight down motion, and then let's break this about, looks like a little under 90 degrees. Very impressive. And then we also have our wrist joints, flexing it backwards, forwards, and it is also on a swivel joint, so of course we can spin this hand around. While we're up here, I would like to take a moment to appreciate the thoroughly painted claw details. Both hands are painted as well as the feet. The body itself has no articulation. It is one solid piece, which is pretty traditional with this Hammond collection. It is a hard plastic, which is the same as the neck and the head. So our legs are going to give us the next points of articulation. At the hips, we do have some adduction and abduction, so I can bring the legs out about that far, and I can bring them in about that close. So in and outwards. And now this is also a swivel, so I should, for the most part, be able to bring this joint all the way around. I don't typically like to do this because I don't want to put a bunch of stress on the joints or like overuse them too much, but I'm going to do it on camera for the review so you don't have to. We have our first knee right here, which is, I believe, also a hinge and a swivel. Nice, sturdy joint. Look at those calves right there. Man, this Allosaurus has been doing some jump roping, that is for sure. Calf raises all day, baby. So upwards and downwards, just like so. And can I move this leg around? Oh yeah, I think I can. Let me move this leg. Look at that. Boom, baby. Up and down and around all day. And then just below that, we have a backwards knee, which should give us a very similar movement. So moving it forward about that far and then backwards. Let's see what we got. A decent amount. Oh yeah, there we go. Pretty much a straight-legged fashion there. And then can I spin this joint around? I think I can. Might take a little bit of finessing, but yeah, I can get that joint all the way around, forwards and backwards. And it's basically the same story here at the foot, a hinge and a swivel. So I could take this foot, flex it straight down, that's great, and then flex it upwards a little bit as well. And then can I spin the foot around? I think I can. This thing is kind of heavy, actually, to be honest with you. Maybe not. No, it doesn't look like I can quite spin it around. I might be scratching plastic if I do. I did notice there is a little bit of an overspill of paint right here, which I think is probably my first Hammond collection figure to have a little bit of overspill right here, but that's not a big deal because I can always clean it up later if I wanted to. And then the bottom of the feet have some texture to them with our traditional Jurassic World logo. And the last area of articulation is going to be this beautiful long tail. One of my favorite pieces to the Hammond collection because they're able to put in a wire and you can basically flex this and move this in multiple multiple directions. It's also made out of like a rubberish kind of material, which gives kind of like a realness to it. But at the base of the body, it is on a ball joint. So the base of the tail can move in all different directions, and I can even spin it around if I wanted to. But just to give you an idea of what this tail can do, I can basically flex it to the right, to the left, and all different directions basically. This is cool. I can bring it upwards if I wanted to, and then downwards. I would be a little careful when you get to like the tip where the metal is like no longer present, because I feel like you could possibly poke like the little metal piece in there through, or whatever is like this entire joint. I feel like you could poke that through and actually, you know, break the figure itself. So definitely be careful where you no longer feel this like rod or whatever it is in here. But for the most part, the sky is the limit with this tail. Absolutely incredible. So we know it has great articulation, but how functional are the poses? Let's see if I can get some pretty good dynamic poses out of this Allosaurus. So I'm gonna do like a straight looking up into the air type of pose. Let's see how like high I can get this. With the feet planted straight on the ground, look how high I can get this Allosaurus reaching for the sky. Pretty incredible. But with a simple head tilt forward, we have a more humanized version of this Allosaurus. Like it just walked in from a job interview. Congratulations, you just got the job. I think it's super important that if a figure is posed a certain way on the packaging, I think you should be able to do said pose. And this Allosaurus can achieve that like lower, you know, aggressive pose with absolute ease. Of course, I gotta give you a comparison of our Carnotaurus and Allosaurus. This was one of the more redeeming scenes within Jurassic World Dominion. You know, I like dinosaurs existing within the modern day. You know, they came out of their cages, they had no idea what was going on. They just, before they started eating people, they're just trying to figure things out. And then here, I'll give you a good side-by-side comparison of these two in more or less a neutral pose. Here's more of a profile point of view. Now, in the film, they look roughly the same height, you know, depending on how they're standing. I believe the Carnotaurus was just slightly bigger than the Allosaurus, but obviously I could mimic the height any way that I want to, depending on how I pose the legs. You know, it wouldn't be a proper Hammond collection Allosaurus video if I didn't include not only one, but two SCUTOSAURUS. Hopefully the Hammond collection gives us one of these, because, you know, we gotta recreate that scene, and hopefully they also give us the little baby as well. And you know what, while we're here, let's take a moment to appreciate how good this looks. I mean, it's roughly in scale with each other. I'll probably display my Allosaurus with these two until we get a Hammond collection one. Before we wrap this up, let's do some measurements. So front of the mouth to tip of the tail, it looks like we are at about 20 and a half inches. And then as far as height goes, all in a just neutral standing position, it looks like we are at 8 inches. This Allosaurus from the Hammond collection is so good. This line just keeps getting better and better. The price point is $34.99. You can find this at Target stores right now. I think what I love the most about this figure is just how good it looks. I mean, it's basically a true representation of the Allosaurus and like how we see it. The articulation is there. You can get so many different dynamic poses out of it. I love that the entire tail has that like bendable like rubber piece throughout. I also really enjoy that on the side of the packaging they put the battle at Big Rock rather than like Jurassic World Dominion. So to me, that says that we're probably going to get an SCUTOSAURUS at some point. Now, when I was comparing the Carnotaurus, I noticed that the pupils to the realistic eye are a little bit thicker to this figure, whereas the Allosaurus has more of like a thin, like slender, like pupil to it. So I think moving forward, they should increase the width of the pupil to make it really pop and stand out, because that will allow the eyes to look to their fullest potential. Other than that, it's an amazing piece and you'll be very happy to add it to your collection. But that's all I got for you with this video. I really hope you enjoyed this unboxing and review of the new Hammond collection Allosaurus from Mattel. If you did enjoy this unboxing and review, be sure to like and subscribe. It does help out the channel, lets me know that I'm doing a good job. And make sure you connect with me on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date when new things drop, like the rest of the Hammond collection figures and hopefully a Spinosaurus in the future. I also post toy photography and toy videos, things you won't see here on YouTube. Until then, collectors, I'll see y'all in the next video.